Let me tell you a story. I was 19 years old studying at the University of Ghana, and I made a friend through my campus ministry. We became good friends. We spent time studying the Bible and mostly arguing over soccer matches. I went over to visit him where he lived with his parents and family, and he likewise returned the gesture. Fast forward 2 years later, I went to visit him for the third time, and this time something new caught my attention. Right behind the house was a beautiful backyard garden that had a hedge of flowers, and that was marvelous. I spent 4 days there, and I would wake up every morning and go stand by the garden and just admire the beauty that I was seeing. You had birds coming around, chirping, and I love that kind of stuff. So I asked my friend, who did this? Who made this garden? Because I clearly remember that the first 2 times I visited you, you did not have this in your house. And I also know that it certainly isn't you, but I'm interested in knowing who planted this garden. So he told me it was his grandfather who invested time to plant the garden that I was seeing. The old man had died 5 to 6 months before I went to visit my friend, but the work of his hand was still alive, was still living for me to admire. Now I'm going to pause here for a second and tell you what I learned from my visit to my friend. You ready? To every beautiful garden, there is an equally hard-working, dedicated, and committed farmer or gardener behind the scenes. Does that make sense to you at all? That is how life is. When you look out into the world, when you look into the lives of people you meet, the people you admire, what do you see? You see a beautiful couple who've been married for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. They've raised kids, they have grandkids, and they're still going stronger and stronger. They are quick to forgive. They are peaceful. They enjoy life together. You want that. You desire to have that one day with your spouse if you're not married. And if you're married, you desire to have that in your marriage as well. You look at a business that you probably saw when it started, now grow to employ people to serve the needs and the demands of their clients and customers, and it's enriching the lives of people. And you probably think, I wish my business would grow like that. But here's the point we all need to understand. The natural disposition of things is set toward chaos. If you know anything about entropy, you know what I'm talking about. If you bought a plot of land and left it and did nothing on it, after a year or two, you would come back and find weed growing on it. Every beautiful thing you see here on earth has someone working behind the scenes. Even in nature, the beauty we see in nature, we look at the oceans, the sea, the forest that we see around us. That is the handiwork of God. The Bible says in Psalm 19 verse 1, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. When you look at people's life, when you look at the beauty, the splendor, the honor that rest upon people and how they're enjoying life, the accomplishments that they've achieved, it goes without saying that somebody worked for it. Work is built into life. Work is part of life. God himself is a worker. He worked this beautiful, majestic, stellar universe that we all admire. And that is how life is set in motion. You look at every good thing you see out there and think to yourself, somebody worked for this. Somebody put effort into this. That beautiful marriage you're seeing out there, that beautiful couple, they have worked tirelessly. Perhaps they have put Christ at the center of their marriage, and they bow to the will of God. They submit themselves to the will of God, so that they would have the humility to love each other, to forgive each other as quickly as possible, to have peace in their marriage. That company you're seeing out there that is growing, that is employing people, that is generating millions in revenue, the CEO, when he first started, had to work. People have sacrificed, made enormous sacrifices for the company to grow to the point where you're seeing it at. So, the question here is, are you willing to work for the beauty you see in life, for the beauty that you desire to have in life? I'm going to leave that with you to wrestle with. Thank you very much for watching this. And as usual, if you found it helpful and insightful in any way, leave me a comment, give me a feedback. I would really appreciate that. God bless you, and I love you.